up, everybody? It's Broken Bones here, and welcome to Broken's Bedrock Tutorials. Today, we're going to show you how to reliably and quickly move blocks around in any direction using pistons and redstone. This here is a really good demonstration of how you can move blocks around reliably, and as you can see here, we've got blocks pretty much moving in every direction. We got them going up, we got them coming down, we got them going left, we got them coming right, we got them going front and back, we got them going in every direction, and it's very important that whatever design that you choose is going to be reliable, because all it takes is for one piston to mess up, and if we do just like this, the whole thing stops and then blocks start coming out and then your farm breaks. One of my latest tutorials is this new universal TNT blaster, and it uses a lot of farms and a bunch of piston pushers to push blocks around that eventually go into the farm. Here's my basalt generators. This is my example, and then this was the tutorial, and I have both of them coming into a piston pusher that can take blocks from both sides and push it out into a single block stream. Over here we have another piston that can take blocks from one side and also from above. And regardless of where I've put my farm, I've used one of those two piston pushers to eventually get the blocks to all come to this area right here. So both of these block streams will eventually come into this area, and this is a block piston pusher that is pushing blocks down into my farm. And one of the most requested tutorials on my channel is hooking up a tree farm to this universal TNT blaster. And in doing so, I've had to push blocks in just about every direction, and that's forced me to get very creative with how I do it. And one of the things I found most important is making sure that every single piston in the farm is completely reliable. So I wanted to make a tutorial that explains how to do that, since there's so many of them. And as you can see here, our farm here is still broken, but these pistons are smart. So if we come right over here and we fix the problem, as you can see, it starts all back up by itself. So as you can see, these pistons will not break. We can go ahead and do it again just to show you in real time, because I know that was two different clips. Here's the farm broken, all the blocks have stopped, and then if we come back here and we go ahead and fix the problem, it starts all back up by itself. And the reason why is because these pistons have to push blocks if they're being powered. However, if it can't push blocks, then basically it'll wait until it can, and it'll fix itself. So if you guys are excited to learn how to build these, then go ahead and smack the like button for me and subscribe if you guys are new, and let's get started with the tutorial. A material list will be down in the description, which is going to be really short, because each and every one of these is quick and easy to build, and you can build it using any one of these items in my inventory, and there's only 10. And before we get started with today's tutorial, there's one thing that all of these have in common, and that is the 12 block push limit that pistons have. And to make sure that you do not ruin your redstone, you need to abide by these, because sometimes when you build these designs, they are pushing blocks towards redstone, and if you don't want your redstone to be broken, then you need to follow this rule. To make sure that your pistons are not going to break your redstone, what we can do is we can go ahead and place a block up wherever you're trying not to have the block go. So if you don't want to break your redstone here, then place a block on whatever side you're having your blocks come from, and then you're going to count 15 blocks out in any direction, starting from this block right here. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15, just like that. After the 15th block, we're going to break the 14th block. We're going to place ourselves in a piston right there, and then that's pretty much it. That'll make sure that you're 13 blocks away, which is just one block past the push limit, and that way, anytime you power this piston, it won't break your redstone. And as you can see right here, it won't actually push those blocks until you break the 13th block. In a few of the designs that you're going to see today, this principle is going to take place, and you need to remember this. So to start things off, we're going to start by pushing blocks vertically. So anytime a block comes into contact with this piston, it's going to go ahead and get pushed up just like that, and it can take blocks from either the right hand side just like this, or from the left hand side just like this. And to build it is very simple. You need a dot of redstone dust on a block. Next to that block, you're going to put an upwards facing piston. On the other side, you're going to put a block with a repeater on it, and you can power that repeater with pretty much anything that'll power it. I'm going to go ahead and use a redstone torch underneath a block just like that, and now anytime a block comes into contact with that piston, it's going to get shot up. If you only plan on using this design from one side, and you're only going to be having blocks come in from this side, then simply just go ahead and grab yourself an obsidian block and go ahead and put it in there like that, so that way you don't accidentally break your farm and have it overflow. But instead of maybe having it push from one side or both sides, maybe you want it to push 90 degrees from this side and that side, so that you have 90-degree blocks coming in and getting shot up. Well, to do that is very simple. All you need to do is move this block and that redstone and put it over there, and that'll make it to where now you can have a block string coming in from this direction, so anytime a block comes in, it would get shot up as well. The only thing is, though, is that this piston right here, you need to make sure that that is within the 12 block push limit of that redstone, because if it is, it could technically break it. So make sure that that piston is at least 12 blocks away from that redstone. And now that we've showed you how to move blocks up, let's go ahead and show you how to move blocks down. Anytime a block comes into contact with that piston, it gets shot down, and it can take items from either the left or the right, just like this, or we can come from the right, just like that, and it'll push it down. And to get things started with this one, you're going to start out with a block where your piston is going to be facing down off of, just like this. Next, you need to go ahead and come down here, just like so. Go ahead and place a block over here, and a block over here. Go ahead and come up by one like there, and then you're going to place in yourself a redstone torch and a repeater like this to go ahead and power that block that comes into contact with that face. Then we're going to put some redstone dust here, but we need to link it up to our piston. So we're going to go ahead and bring up just like this with another block, and we're going to link redstone dust all the way on top of that. And as you can see, it's going to push that block down. So anytime a block comes in right here, it's going to get pushed down. And once again, if you're not feeding it from one side, then you can go ahead and break those blocks and then go ahead and put yourself some obsidian there, and that'll make it to where it's only fed from one side. And if you didn't want it fed from both sides or just one side, and you wanted it to be fed from a 90-degree angle, say you wanted one from the right and one from the back or front, and you wanted to push it in that direction, well, then all you'd have to do is break out this redstone right here and turn it 90 degrees. It's literally as simple as that. Literally place a block in right there, place a block right there, and a block right there. Cover all of those with redstone dust. It's the exact same design, except it's turned 90 degrees. So anytime a block comes in right there, it'll get pushed down. So as you can see, now we have a clear space right here where blocks can come in, and from this side. One thing to keep in mind with this design is the 12 block push limit. This piston can technically break that redstone if it's within that 12 block push limit, so make sure that that piston is at least 12 blocks away so you do not ruin your redstone. Our next design pushes blocks out into a single wide block stream, and it can take blocks from the right or the left, and it pushes them out in a straight line. And if you're sat here looking at this design wondering why we got this piston up here with the redstone block and the observers out the back, why do we have both systems going on? Well, that's because this system here is actually quite slow, but it's dependable, and the observers are quite quick, however undependable. And so if we go just like this, we can go ahead and break this machine. If we put a obsidian block there, we can overload it, and as you can see, it's going to get pushed in. That's going to go up, it's going to power that redstone, and right now there's a block right there not getting pushed. So if we go ahead and break that, you can see that the block still gets pushed out and it fixes itself. Let's demonstrate this one more time, except this time we're going to remove the redstone block. Let's go ahead and put ourselves a piece of obsidian up here, and we still have the observers there and all the redstone at the back. And in fact, I'll even place the block in this way, so on screen you can watch that redstone turn red and it'll pulse. And if we press this block right in here like that, you can see the redstone pulsed, and there's still nothing being done right here, because as you can see, there's still a block in there. And if we go ahead and remove this, it doesn't fix itself. It won't fix itself unless that redstone block's there, and then it'll fix itself. And to get things started with this design, we're going to take ourselves a piston just like that with a redstone torch underneath it on that block just like so. Come right around back, place yourself a block in there like that, one up and one over. Grab some glass, place on a block right there, place another block right there and one right there, so you have this diagonal right here. Go ahead and break these two blocks out, and then grab yourself some redstone dust. Put it in all of these locations leading from the piston all the way to the top block just like so. Grab yourself some observers. On the side of this piston, place an observer there and an observer there. Grab yourself some blocks, put a block there and a block there, kind of closing that in. Then once you have that all done, grab yourself one more temporary block, and then grab yourself a sticky piston, face it in the upwards position right there, and a redstone block on top, and then you can break that block out. And anytime that you put a block right here, you're going to see that it's going to get pushed out just like so, and as you saw earlier, it can take blocks from the right or the left. And one thing to keep in mind with this design is that these pistons to the right and to the left can technically break each other if they're too close together. If they're within the 12 block push limit, it could technically push that piston out of its redstone area and it would no longer work. And so make sure that you abide by the 12 block push limit for these two pistons. Make sure they're at least 12 blocks apart. And if you're not planning on having the blocks come in from one way, well then instead of placing an obsidian block right here, I've actually got another design that does just that. I recommend only using this design when you have block streams coming from from the left and the right. And as you can see, our next design has redstone right here, so we can't have blocks coming in from both directions, right and left. However, we can have another block stream coming down from above, and that is really cool because as you can see right here, if we put in a block right here, it gets shoved out in this direction, and if we have a block coming in from up here, it gets shot out in that direction as well, and it's arguably my cheapest design. All you're going to do here is you're going to place your piston down on top of a block just like that, put a redstone torch right there, come over to this block, place in a temporary block, and one up just like that, and then some redstone dust right there, and you're done. All you can do is place in a block right there, and it'll get pushed out. And as shown before, you can have blocks coming in from one side, and you can have blocks coming in from above just like this, but one thing about the other ones that this one you can't do, you can't place obsidian right here, and you can't place obsidian right here, and that's going to make it to where this thing can break. But if you abide by the 12 block push limit, make sure that your pistons are 12 blocks away, that way when they reach the push limit, they won't break your redstone. And now that we've shown you how to build a piston pusher that will take blocks from one side and above, let's go ahead and show you how to build one that'll take blocks from one side and below down here. And so once we have that, as you can see, it'll push blocks out in a straight line from below or from the side. So to get things started with this design, we're going to take a piston and put it on top of our block. We're going to break that block, and then we're going to come right around the back side of it, and then we're going to face the back of the piston, and underneath, we're going to put ourselves an observer right there. And then depending on which side your blocks are coming in from, if they're coming in from this side, going into your piston, then go ahead and put an observer there. However, if they're coming in from the other side, go ahead and put your observer on this side. Then once you have those in place, go ahead and put a block on the backs of both of those and some redstone dust right there. Once you have that in place, this will go ahead and fire anytime a block comes into this observer or this observer. However, that's not dependable because if this gets blocked, those observers only have a single tick and it'll break. So what we're going to do is we're going to make it dependable now. So let's go ahead and put a block in right here, and we're going to put in a sticky piston face up just like that with a redstone block on its face. Go ahead and break out that temporary block, and then out the back here, we're going to place a block on that redstone block. We're going to grab a piece of glass, put it on top of that redstone, and then grab a solid block and put it again behind that redstone. So you should have 3 blocks in a row just like that with glass in the middle. Then put redstone dust on top of all of those. Then once you're done with that, the side that you do not have the observer on, so if it's on this side, you would do it to the other side. But since mine's on this side, we're going to come over here. We're going to come down here to this observer. We're going to put a temporary block there and out one just like that. Put a block out here and a block up there. Put a redstone torch down here. You could use a redstone block. You could use a lever or anything that would power this repeater, and that'll go ahead and power this piston here anytime a block comes in right here. So as you can see, it'll go ahead and do just that. And if we go ahead and take ourselves some obsidian, you can see that even if the block gets stops right there. So if we go just like this, you can see that it's not going to get pushed. However, once we move that, it'll push. And one of the things that you have to keep in mind when building this design is that you cannot put obsidian right here. So that piston is going to have to be 12 blocks away, which again, earlier I showed you in the video that you can just count 15 blocks in any direction and put your piston there. I put mine closer in the tutorial so I could quickly demonstrate how to do this just like that. And so one of the things, the other thing is that the piston down below, that actually can stay as close as you want, because if we go ahead and block it just like this, you can see that even if we run out of space, if we put one more block in there, it's not going to push because pistons, when they're extended, are immovable blocks. And now that we've shown you how to bring blocks in from the side along with below, and also from the side and from above, but what if you want to do from below and above? Well, that's this design right over here. So what we're going to do here is we're going to place in a block right there. And as you can see, it'll spit it out if it comes from above. And if you place in a block right there, it'll spit it out if it comes from below. So to get things started with this one, we're going to go ahead and place ourselves a piston on top of that block. And then go ahead and bring a block out like that. And you can break this one out. Go ahead and place a block in over here, and then a block up just like that, and break that one out with a torch underneath that one, or a redstone block or a lever, as I've said in the past, and make sure that that repeater is powered no matter how you power it, and it's going right into the area right in front of that piston. Once you have that done, come to this side, place in a block there and a block on the side of that piston with some redstone dust in right there, and anytime a block comes into that face of that piston, it's going to get shot forward, and as you can see from above and below, it's empty, so you can have blocks coming in from above and below. And one of the things to keep in mind with this design is that the above and below pistons can break each other if the blocks get pushed, and then it pushes that piston out from its redstone. So one of the ways to keep that from happening is that 15 block trick that I showed you guys. Simply you just count 15 blocks from the face of that piston there all the way up, and then you would go ahead and put your piston facing down in the 14th block like I showed you guys in that little trick. And with all the designs that you saw in today's tutorial, you can pretty much move any blocks coming in from any direction out into whatever direction you like. And so with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed today's tutorial. You guys can now move blocks quickly and reliably and not have to worry about your pistons breaking. And I hope you guys enjoy that too. And if you did, be sure to smack the like button for me and subscribe if you guys are new. I'm Broken Bones, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next tutorial. Take it easy, everybody.